I am sitting right now taking a video in the middle of a traffic island that separates two different roadways from each other. I came here deliberately because this is the place where I met a woman and a dog who taught me about the possibilities that can happen when we love, truly love, somebody who does their best to be unlovable. I met this woman with a 7-year-old Siberian Husky. He was magnificent, one of the nicest dogs I'd ever seen. And I saw he was very attuned to every word she said, every movement she would make. He was right there with her and for her. And I said, I want to know your story. Was he like this when you met him? How did you develop this wonderful relationship that the two of you have? I'd like to learn. And she says, I'm really glad you asked. Very few people do. And she told me a story that I hope will touch your heart the way it's touched mine. She told me that she met him when he was 4 years old. He had already been through 3 homes, and each time he was turned into rescue because he was aggressive. People were afraid to leave him alone with their children. He would attack, he would jump, he would lunge, he would do all the things. He would bite, he would scratch, he would overpower. And every home he'd been in, they turned him back to rescue. She was told if she did not take this dog, he was going to be euthanized. So she had a choice to make. Remember, I'm at a fork in the road here. She could have taken the dog, or she could have not taken the dog, knowing he was going to be euthanized. She chose to take the dog, knowing that this was given to her to learn more about love, to learn more about the power of love, to help her understand what's possible when we love with all our heart. So she brought him home, and it wasn't easy. He was aggressive with her, he didn't listen to her, he didn't mind, and he acted out. Even though she was loving and kind and sweet, he didn't do that. He just wasn't able to go there. And then one day he crossed the line. He bit her, and not only did he bite her, he bit her in the face. She was rushed to the hospital, and they had stitches put into her face to repair the damage he had done. So there was another fork in the road that she had. She could turn him back to rescue. Nobody would have blamed her for that after being bit in the face and having serious injuries. Or she could return to the relationship and redouble her efforts to be that safe and loving space we all want to find in our lives. And that's the choice that she made. She came back to the relationship. She redoubled her efforts to be the home he needed. She redoubled her efforts to be the person to give him the loving care, the security that he'd always wanted but never had. They had to rebuild trust with each other. He knew he'd gone too far. Sensitive animals, and this one was a sensitive animal, know when they've crossed the line. So he had a lot of shame he had to deal with in order to really be there with her. She finally gotten his attention in the most difficult way possible, and he wanted to be the dog she needed him to be. Day by day they built a relationship, and by the time I met them, 3 years after they had met, they were perfectly attuned to each other, and she was so happy that she was able to share the story. I wanted you to know this story for a couple of reasons. First of all, this shows you every relationship has forks in the road. Do we want to keep going, or do we want to give up? And it's not about saying you should do one or the other. It's about knowing that when a fork in the road comes, we always have a choice. Which fork are you going to take? Which fork is going to help you? Which fork is going to help the other? Which fork is going to help us both be love in the best possible way? Sometimes it would mean turning the dog back because they just couldn't handle it. Or it could be going forward with the relationship knowing that this was a great teacher for her to learn more about the power of love. The other thing was about trust. He violated her trust by biting her. How many of us get bit emotionally by people who violate our trust? Or get violated physically, or get violated financially, or whatever way it is. We often get violated. Are we going to shut down our hearts because we've been violated? Or are we going to say, no, I can do this. It's not about that. The most important thing in my life is love. And I'm here to learn how to do it as well as possible. Food for thought. To learn more about the Love and Kindness Initiative, please visit our website, which is www.transformingthroughlove.com. And as always, let's do this together.